We're in the shadow of the Superstition Mountains in Lost Dutchman State Park, located just outside of Apache Junction in Arizona. The state park gets its name from Jacob Waltz. He's a Dutchman who is said to have hid millions of dollars, or had a mine worth millions of dollars in gold in these mountains. And about 8,000 or more people a year come out here looking for it. And today, in this video, we're going to show you where it's at.
No, we're not. But we are hiking on the Treasure Loop Trail. The only treasure that we're going to find today, though, is nature. That's what we're looking for today. But we will share some information and stories along the way.
The Treasure Loop Trail is about 2.3 miles around. So it's not too long, it's moderate, it's pretty easy going, it's not that bad. This point that we're at here is where horses and bicycles are asked to use another crosscut trail. So this is where we part company with them.
There are several trails in this area. There's even one that goes up to the top, the Flatiron Trail. It's a pretty tough trail. They say to allow at least 5 to 6 hours. It's not really well maintained, so if you're brave enough to try that, make sure you have lots of water and lots of daylight.
Trail gets a little rocky in places, so it's good to have good shoes on and watch your footing. Get a little crazy here and there. Don't want to roll an ankle or anything. The terrain is got a lot of different shrubs growing and some trees. Looks mostly like creosote and some jojoba, and then there's palo verde trees, and there's also some cholla and saguaros. It's just absolutely beautiful. It's just stunning features on the mountain, just amazing. Look at the size of this thing, just amazing. And you can guarantee that this was here when the Lost Dutchman was in this area. I mean, this thing dates back hundreds of years. It's just massive. How you doing on water?
Good. Drinking quite a bit, even though it's not that warm out, but you still need lots of water.
Yeah, it's about 70 degrees Fahrenheit right now, I guess, and we got some extra water in our packs, but I can hear Susan's ice rattling around in that, so that's a good sign that it's staying cold.
Yep. Something that I was always curious about is that people will call these Superstition Mountains or Superstition Mountain, and I wondered which was correct. So I did a little research and found that actually they are both correct. It is the Superstition Mountains mountain range, and this large mountain here is called Superstition Mountain, surprisingly enough. Whatever you want to call it, it's beautiful, and the locals usually just refer to them as the Supes.
Starting to go up. I'm always seeing something and photographing something or lagging behind, and Susan takes off and leaves me in the desert to die.
That is not true.
Here's something Susan and I see quite often all over the sides of trails. Dog owners will pick up after their dogs, put it in a baggie, put it alongside of the trail and put a rock on top of it so that it doesn't blow away. And hopefully the intention is that they plan to pick it up on the way back out. Often they either forget or they just didn't want to do it to begin with. But anyway, these things often are there for a long time.
Yeah, so if you don't intend to pick it up, it's probably better to just leave it. Maybe move it off the trail, but leave it and let it biodegrade rather than putting in plastic that's going to be there for a long, long time.
Looks like Susan's doing snack time. Got yourself a bar to eat.
Yep.
Awesome. So the sun has gone behind the clouds, which has made it about 10 degrees cooler out, so it's about 60 Fahrenheit now, which is excellent. But I think my pack is probably making my back all wet. Susan, can you see if I shine this at my, or aim this at my back? How is it?
Oh yes, it's definitely wet, and looks like the sun's coming back out. So
I think I'm
it's probably going to get worse.
It over on this side. Since it's light, I'll just kind of hang it off and let it dry for a little bit. So I've got a lot of history in this area dating back to high school days, and I used to camp and hike out here in the Superstition Mountain Wilderness, and I took a class in high school called Southwest History and learned a lot about the Dutchmen and the history of this area. And so I had an early fascination and would come out here all times of the year, even in the summer when it was 115 plus degrees Fahrenheit, and hike around. And the things that I did then, I would no longer do again. It's enough for me right now. You can probably hear me breathing going up this hill, and it's 60 to 70 degrees Fahrenheit now, and I'm just consuming a lot of water. But anyway, I would come out here and look around, and and have fantasies of finding the Lost Dutchman's gold, but never found it, and gave up like so many others have. But one story that's kind of locked in my memory is one time I went camping an overnight out in the Fremont Saddle area, which is up Peralta Canyon. I think it's about 3.5 miles in up the canyon into the Superstition Mountain Wilderness, and it's an overlook to Weaver's Needle, and it's very beautiful. And there was a ridge off to the flank of the Weaver's Needle that looked like a great place to camp. There was one lone pinyon pine out there, and so we decided, hey, let's go over there and set up camp. So we hiked over, and we got all our things set up, laid out, and we did what's called cowboy camping then. You just put out a bedroll and slept under the stars, no tent or tarp or anything. And so I'm laying there, and I thought my eyes were playing tricks on me because the ground looked like it was moving. And I looked down, and I was covered with scorpions, little tiny baby scorpions. And we were extremely far from any help, and there were no ways to communicate then in an easy and effective manner. So it was a little disconcerting, and we were motivated to go right back down to Fremont Saddle. And so we went back down and sat down after hiking all the way down to the saddle. And where I sat down, I sat right next to a Gila monster. If you're not familiar with them, they are venomous, and it's not good if they get a hold of you. But anyway, that was the second thing that happened on that particular trip. And then we decided, hey, let's just sleep on flat, smooth rock, and that way we kind of see what's around us more readily. And I woke up the next morning to a scout troop coming through that told me that there's a rattlesnake in my boots. And sure enough, one had slithered in there to hide away in the morning. And so they saved me something. Of course, I would have shook my boots out anyway, but maybe I'd have shaken it out and got bit or something. But it's a fascinating area, and I'm sure so many people have stories about what's happened to them in this wilderness, and a lot of the stories are a lot worse than mine. Many people have died out here looking for the Lost Dutchman treasure. Seemed like a good place to rest after climbing all the way up here. Have a bar. We always bring some kind of snack with us. I could actually use a full course meal right now though. How you doing back there?
Okay, it's getting a little rocky, a little steeper.
And once you get up to the top of the loop, there's a site for sore legs and maybe lungs. There's a bench up here, and if you're here at the right time, you can sit and watch the sunset over the valley. We're just gonna look at the smog of Phoenix. You can see Phoenix way out there. Somewhere over there is Phoenix. That looks like it. I'm out of breath.
Got a little gnarly at the end there.
You made it.
Yes, I did.
So this is where Prospector's View Trail comes in to the top of the loop. So we're gonna head back down after a short rest and enjoy this beautiful scenery. It's just amazing out this way. Not quite what I had in mind over this way, but I do think that is just stunning over here. So we made it to the top. We want to tell you that there's so many things to do in this area. Besides the Superstition Mountains and all the trails here, you can hit up the Superstition Mountain Museum. They have so much information about the area, as well as the lore and the history of the Lost Dutchman, Jacob Waltz, and this whole mountainous area.
Yeah, a lot of mining information. They have both inside and outside exhibits that you can see, so it's definitely worth checking out if you're in this area.
Yeah, and if you can't get over this way, I recommend that you hit up some books about the Superstition Mountains and some of the legends here. Very fascinating reads. I'll put some links in the description for you.
We're also very close to Goldfield Ghost Town, which is kind of a fun place to just go and hang out. It's free to walk around in the town. They got little shops and saloons and some different things to see. They got a train ride that you can take, and they do talk a little bit about the Superstition Mountains and about Jacob Waltz's story. So that's definitely something to do as well.
Yeah, and we also like going to Canyon Lake, which is right down the road from here. It's just a gorgeous lake, and you can take the Dolly steamboat out of that and go into the canyon. It's just a wonderful trip. By the way, we've done videos on all of these places: the Superstition Mountain Museum, Goldfield Ghost Town, Canyon Lake, Dolly steamboat. Yeah, it's just so much to do. We'll put some links to our videos in the description so you can check those out too. Well, we made it back down to the trailhead and the sun's about to set. We really had a great hike. It got a little gnarly up there at the top, but nothing we couldn't handle. It was just a beautiful day and the views were amazing, weren't they?
Yeah, they were. It was really beautiful. So please remember to comment, share, subscribe, and click on that little notification bell.
Thanks for watching. Almost missed that little guy. I don't know if you can see him. Like right about there. Very little tiny scorpion. He is not happy. And why would he be? I just disturbed him. Shouldn't have done it, but too late for that now. Sorry, buddy. I'll put your home back.